Hi everyone, it's Helen here from Simply Made Crafts. Thank you very much for clicking on today's video, and today I'm going to be sharing some of my top tips on 3D constructions and just making your work look really nice, neat and tidy, and what sort of adhesives that I like to use. So for my first top tip, we're going to be starting with Scorelines and bone folders. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know I absolutely love my bone folder. I have two of these. Actually, I have more than two, but I have two main ones that I reach for all of the time. I could not craft without them. So, Scorelines. My die sets do come with the score lines already done for you, so it's done all of the easy work. All you have to do is fold, but I like to really go in with my fold lines. So I'm starting off with the ring box die set just here. That's what I'm going to be using for this demonstration, and as you can see, it's cut everything out. We've got the base here and the lid, and it's done the score lines. Now, some people would just simply fold that over and then fold this over like this as well. Now, it is possible, just like what I've just done here, to actually, it may have a score line, but I have actually folded it in the wrong place. So you do have to be really mindful of following that score line. So I'm just going to repress that in, and again, I'm using my fingers here. It's not really giving me the best folds. It's still kind of a loose fold. So to get a really good corner and edge to your projects, use a bone folder and run it around there. I'm not going to press that down. I'm hoping you'll be able to see that. I'm pressing that down. You can see there's a gap just here, there. So once I use my bone folder on that, that flattens it right up against the paper really nicely. And now I have a really nice edge here compared to this folded edge that I've just done with my hands on this side. So always make sure that where you can, use your bone folder, use along the rounded edge just here, along there as well. And you can also get vegan friendly or Teflon or plastic coated bone folders as well. I believe this one is actual bone, but you can actually get vegan friendly or vegetarian friendly ones too. Okay, now the Teflon bone folders, they don't actually leave any marks, so sometimes you can get a shiny mark if you press too hard when you're burnishing down your score lines. So if you don't like that at all, or if you have some specially coated paper, then either pop another piece of paper over the top whilst you press down on your score line, or use a Teflon coated one as well. Okay, so I've got everything now folded over using my bone folder, and as you can see, I have some really nice crisp edges here. As you can see, it's quite important. This is quite a structural lid here, and I've pressed down these tiny little triangular tabs just here, and as you can see, we're just doing a quick dry run. I like to do dry runs. Can you see how nicely that goes together? If I hadn't have used my bone folder, these edges would have been slightly rounded and you would not have the same polished look that we have here. Okay, so types of adhesives. So I like to use a nice little range of different things for different jobs. So I have wet glue here. I like one that dries fast, so Cosmic Shimmer is always a good one to go for. There is red tape, and you can get them in different widths. So that's the same one. Here we go, here's another one, different widths as well. So there's so many different choices, and also there's hot glue as well. So I'll be talking hot glue in a moment, but I want to work on this just here. So red tape is really good if you have a place where you are holding things to dry properly, like in an area like this. So you can add your red tape just here so that it instantly sticks and it doesn't pop open. So when you have a project where you think, I'm gonna have to either add pegs, I'm gonna have to sit here like this and just wait for that to dry, you can literally just go in with a little bit of red tape or your hot glue, just like so. If you're using double-sided tape, always press this down with your bone folder. That pushes the adhesive right into the fibres of the paper, and then it makes it really easy for you to get the edge off that as well, the backing tape. So what I'm going to do is I do need to add some adhesive to this tiny little triangle here. Now what another thing you can do, which I like to do, is I like to add a tiny bit of glue just above, on top of my tape that I've just put on. That is going to make it stay there for an awful lot longer. I have found using red tape or any sort of double-sided tape, that my projects do start to come apart after a while. So when I add a little bit of glue over the top, it doesn't affect it. So we're just going to press that down, and the tape is going to hold our project and our side tab in place whilst the glue dries. And it's the glue that's going to give it that long-term stay. There we go. So I now don't have to sit here and hold that so that it dries. So another thing that I like to do, let's use this bag as an example. So here are the darts here. I like to add hot glue to these as I go along, because this does create a little bit of a tension here when you're creating these darts. As you can see, it creates a lovely, oh, it's very bright. It creates this lovely extra space on the sides of the bags there. But if you were using glue, you would be sitting there for quite a while pinching those together. So simply add a little bit of hot glue and it will dry nicely and in the place where you want it to. Right, so we're going to be moving on to neat corners. Now, your corners and how you finish and assemble your project will either make it or break it on how it looks afterwards, whether it's well made or not looking very well made. So I like to go for the well made side. So I'm going to show you exactly how I do my nice and neat corners, and I'll also be showing you how not to make nice neat corners as well. So let's start with the neat corner first. So I like to use my glue for this one, and here we have the score line of the box here, the base of the box. So another dry run, always another top tip is do the dry runs, really do. So here we have a nice neat corner just placed together, and now again using your bone folder to press those gives you those really nice sharp corners. Now we want this to be adhered properly in all areas with no flappy bits. Okay, so if it has flappy bits and it looks a little bit loose, then it's not a very well put together box. So let's pop some glue just on here. Some fast drying glue will be perfect for this. Now I'm going right up to the score line here. I'm not covering it, but I'm going right up to it. And again, to get a nice neat finish on the inside, I'm just going all the way round and then just covering the center just like that. So as you can see, I'm going right up to the score line there, and then we're just going to fold this up, line everything up. Take your time. Using the glue is really good for this because you can have a little bit of time just to get it all in the right place, and then once you're happy with that, you can then press that down. So I have a nice neat inside. There's no loose bits on the inside here, and there's no loose bits on the outside. Now what I do see some people do is they just add a bit of tape. They'll just willy-nilly it. I like that word, willy-nilly. They'll just put it here like this, just like that. You know, they won't even press it down or anything like that. They'll take the backing off and then they'll close it like this, and then they'll call it a day. They'll call that good. But it does look neat like that, but if it catches on anything, we have this area here that has come apart. It can come away, it can get caught, it can get bent as I'm doing like that. It's a really unneat finished edge there to your box compared to this edge that we've just done here that has the adhesive running all the way to the edge there. Nice crisp corner. Again, this one looks loose, so I am just going to try and fix that because that's driving me nuts. I don't like things like that. So I'm just going to add my bit of glue just in there just to finish that off. So it's those little finishing touches that really make a huge difference in how your finished project is going to look. So I do like to, on the last two, I like to add a bit of glue just to both flaps, just because it's easier. Now pop those in. There we go. super easy. And after you've done this a few times, you can get neat and speed up as well and get good results that way. Okay, there is our box. We have no loose flaps on the inside, and we have some lovely crisp corners, nothing loose or flappy. Everything's contained and nice, and that is a lovely looking base to our box. So whilst I'm here, I might as well finish this box off with you. So I've got the lid here, so we have the large flap there, and then we have the hinge on this side here, and on this main box here we have these two supports. So let's get this the right way round. So this hinge here will pop inside there, and then this will be the closing flap that slots in there to keep it closed. Okay, so I have here some red tape already on there. And again, I'm going to use my trick. I'm going to add the glue, and you could always add this lid on before you assemble as well. But if you watch my tutorials, I show you the best way to get things attached and in what order, because sometimes these things need to go on in a specific way to be nice and neat and tidy. So yeah, I should have popped that on beforehand. There we go. That is on nicely. And again, I'm just going to go in there, try and get my bone folder in just to press that down and keep it in the right place. There we go. So I have bent that hinge back and forward so it moves bottom forwards and backwards. So we have here these side tabs just here. These meet these side tabs at the top on the lid there. That's going to stop the lid kind of going inside it. And then we have the larger flap. These kind of tuck underneath these flaps there, and that just goes in like that. Oh, I pressed that in. There we go. And there we have our ring box. Isn't that lovely? I absolutely love that. The crisp corners, it's ready to go. Okay, so for my next tip, I'm going to be quickly die cutting the Shutterbox die set. This is exactly what it does. It's a really, really cool die, and I absolutely love playing with this one. So these all fit individually on a standard die cutting machine. Just take all these out. There we go. You can pop these through no problem if you just have one of the smaller ones. You can probably get two at a time. Cut your A4 paper to A5 and run that through, but I can't really fit all of them at the same time. I could probably get a few of these accent dies here, the accessory ones, on there. But my top tip is, when you have a construction project and it does have lots of little dies, try to get on here as many as possible onto an A4 die cutting machine if you have one. And this will save you so much time, because when you are actually making a gift box that has lots of different little pieces and things like that, it can really add to the time that you are crafting. So if you're able to pop these all onto an A4 sheet and run it through at the same time, it's going to save you loads of time. Okay, so here's my last tip. I have here the Tombstone gift bag as my example. Now this makes a gift bag, and I have tutorials here on how you can make it into an ordinary Halloween themed gift bag, but I also have another tutorial on how you can put this together to make a completely different, pretty floral bag for Mother's Day or anniversaries. It's just got that lovely shape. But you can take this one step further, and I'm going to be calling these spin-offs, because you can really make something like a gift bag into something completely different, like a mini album. Now this is Victoria's design here, that what she's done here. She's from the design team, and she has made this gift bag into this mini album, and it's absolutely wonderful. I love this tassel on the end here. She has a YouTube channel called Crafty Heaven, and she shows you how to make this one from this die set. Isn't this wonderful? So you can really go to town and be adventurous on making something completely different from what the original intention was for the die set. Okay, so it's absolutely wonderful. have a go and get crafty and make something completely different. Okay, so those are my top tips. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.